Hello everyone, this is Supraj Venkat from Throttle and Tails. In today's episode of Ride Smart, Ride Far, I'm going to cover some drills that you could practice to make U-turns really easy. I'll explain the concepts of how some riders look so cool doing U-turns, but I personally feel it's one of the most underrated skill. If you're able to do a U-turn nice and confidently on the road or when you're off-roading, you'd look different. I mean, most riders you'd be able to say are new by just the way that they're doing U-turns. If they're really struggling and putting their feet down and walking the motorcycle, from somebody who just goes in and quickly does a U-turn. It's a brilliant skill to have. Let me explain the physics behind it as well. And hope you can practice this and become a master of a U-turn. So first thing I want to explain is how more the lean angle of the motorcycle, the tighter the radius is going to be. So for this drill, I'm just going to use the handlebars with no lean angle, and let's see what the radius is of the turn. So just the handlebar, fully locked, but the bike is straight. Okay, so it comes somewhere here. I've got another brick just as a reference, so I will just move that to the rear here, so that becomes the mark. So there's a mark there and a mark here. Now let's try the same thing with a tighter, with a lean angle, and see how tightly the bike can actually turn. Yeah. Okay, now I'm just going to lean the bike into me, and with the handlebar lock. You get the idea. So there you go. So that's where the previous turn angle was, and then here, it's way tighter. So that goes to show you, the more the lean angle, the tighter the radius is. So this is a fundamental principle that you need to first understand. Now we'll go into some drills. So the first thing is just find an open area and just work on your eyesight. That's rule number one with any kind of turning. So just roll up, and then before you turn, start turning your head. Just consciously practice this. Don't worry about anything else. Just look around, look around, look around. So that's exercise number one. Don't do anything else. Don't worry. Don't think about anything else. Just look around, right? So you ride up nice and easy. Just turn your head, look around the turn. That's drill number one. Practice that until your muscle memory automatically starts looking around when you want to do a U-turn. The second thing to focus on is your brake and clutch. So 2 fingers on your front brake, 2 fingers on your clutch. As you approach the U-turn, squeeze the front lever to slow the speed down as much as you want, and then pull the clutch in. So once the clutch is in, you're looking around, your handlebar is fully locked, and then you're just coasting around the U-turn until the point of exit, at which point you're starting to slip your clutch. So a little bit of clutch out with a little bit of throttle, right? So brake to slow down if you have to, pull the clutch in, full lock. Your head's already looking before you start doing all of this. Then at the exit of the U-turn, half clutch out, friction point, throttle, and then full release of the clutch. So let's practice this in drill 2. Slide brake, clutch in, looking around, full lock, and go. So these 2 drills you could practice in an empty car park on tarmac. There's nothing specific to off-road, just the basic fundamentals. Look around, then as you approach the U-turn, slight brake to reduce the speed, clutch in, full lock, turn around, and then slip the clutch, and off you go. Now, once you're comfortable doing this on road, then the next step is to try this off-road. In off-road, you can maybe start with terrain like this, which is flat, and it's pretty compacted. And then, once you're comfortable with that, then you go into loose traction. So loose traction, the technique is a bit different. You've got to stand up for first, and then you've got to fully counterbalance. So we'll talk about that in a minute. The third drill is try to put weight on the outside peg and try to move your body a little bit to the outside. So, as we saw in the beginning, as you do that, you're starting to counterbalance. Again, you could try this sitting down to start with, there's no harm. So lean the bike a little bit more and put the weight on the outside peg and practice the same three things. Vision first, clutch in, looking around, and the third thing to do is try to go to the outside a little bit and put pressure on the outside peg and practice it a few times. So the drills that we practice so far works on hard surfaces and like tarmac or even hard compacted sand. When you're in loose traction, the traction, the weight of the bike keeps constantly changing. It's not static. So some places you might have grip, some places you might not have grip. So in that case, the best way to actually do a U-turn is by standing up, because when you're standing up, you could use your ankle, your knees, your hip to move around completely, right? You could counterbalance your turn by putting more weight on the outside, but then there might be a slippery surface halfway through your U-turn, and at that point you can't have the handlebar fully locked, so you would release it a little bit. When you release it a little bit, the weight changes, so you will adjust. So it's like kind of being one with the bike, and I've got a separate episode on this, on how to be weightless. But that's the concept here, and that's the reason why it's better to stand up in loose surfaces, because you could actually move your body around, and it won't be as smooth as the drills that we've done. But practice that first. Once you're confident, once you're comfortable, then do the same drill standing. The concepts are very, very similar. You're looking around, you're braking or slowing down before you start turning. You pull the clutch in, you're looking around, but then when you're in loose traction, the clutch is not fully in, because I might have to give a little bit of throttle depending on whether the bike is the wheels are spinning or whether my handlebar is locking. So the off-roading, in loose surfaces, U-turn, it's all about that feel, that friction point. So I'm always on and around that friction point and giving a little bit of throttle, depending on how my bike is behaving, and it's going to behave differently in different surfaces. So yeah, let me show you a quick example in this gravel, and on how I'm using my clutch and the brake and the throttle. So on this gravel, I'm running, it doesn't help that I'm running street tires, but the traction was very low, so I was on and around the friction point, trying to balance my body, trying to move as much as I could to the outside, trying to lean the bike to make this U-turn. But yeah, these are the drills that I used when I started doing ADV riding, 10 years ago, and it's helped me so far. If you think there are better ways to do it, or if you know something that I didn't cover, please feel free to let me know in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to learn from that as well. Thank you very much.